Hello everyone, welcome back to the Indonesian Community Education Festival 2026. Selamat datang bagi teman-teman yang baru saja bergabung. Salam kenal, nama aku Darlin dan aku adalah salah satu komite dari Indonesia Community Education Festival 2026. Sekali lagi, welcome and we are so happy to have you guys here. Semoga teman-teman sudah menyelesaikan breaknya, sudah ke toilet, sudah grab a drink or grab a snack today. Karena sebentar lagi kita akan mendengarkan panel session yang pertama di hari ini. I hope you guys are excited. Mungkin teman-teman yang excited boleh dong kasih reaction supaya aku bisa lihat siapa sih yang udah hadir kembali hari ini. Dan semoga kalian semua juga in great shape untuk belajar jauh lebih banyak dari Pak Pungki dan juga Ibu Ara. Nah, di sini juga tadi banyak ya yang udah kasih reaction. I'm so happy you guys are excited as well. Teman-teman, aku ingin mengingatkan sekali lagi, bagi teman-teman yang tidak berhalangan, or if you guys wanna turn on your camera because you guys are free, please feel free to do so. Tadi kami sudah memberikan virtual background for committees yang ada di chat box. Jadi teman-teman bisa banget untuk pakai virtual background tersebut di acara hari ini supaya kita berasa lebih dekat lagi nih sama teman-teman. Dan juga bisa melihat future leaders and also change makers of Indonesia. Nah, teman-teman, selain itu aku juga ingin mengingatkan, jangan lupa untuk take notes, take so many insights, dan juga belajar sebanyak-banyaknya dari sesi ini. Dan selama sesi diharapkan untuk stay unmute dulu terlebih dahulu, supaya nanti saat Q&A session teman-teman bisa bertanya langsung dan juga bisa unmute ketika memang sudah diarahkan kembali oleh moderatornya. So, without any further ado, aku ingin memperkenalkan komite kami yang juga akan bertanggung jawab di panel session pertama, yaitu Rafael. So, without any further ado, Rafael, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. Selamat pagi semuanya. Welcome to the Indonesian Community Education Festival 2026. My name is Rafael Adrian, and I am one of the committee members of ICEF 2026. What an inspiring start we had. Thank you to Ms. Dini Widyastuti from Plan International Indonesia and Mr. Rafsi Albar for those truly powerful opening remarks. Now, let us dive to our first panel of the day. Our first session serves as a primer on the critical intersection education, and environmental rights. In today's world, both fields are vital to sustaining a functional and equitable society. So joining us today is Pungki Nanda Pratama, an environmentalist and educator, directly involved in the education of underserved communities in Sumatra and in documenting biodiversity in some of the most understudied regions of our country. Also participating in this panel is Dr. Nurul Hidayat Ab Rahman, Senior Lecturer of Law at the National University of Malaysia, specializing in child law and sustainable development. They will be sharing their insights on the panel titled Our Earth, Our Rights, Rethinking Education for a Sustainable Future. Through this discussion, we will explore the intertwined rights to education and climate action, how education can serve as a vehicle for environmental rights, and how learning spaces can nurture environmental awareness. Let's keep the conversation active. Ask questions, share your reflections in the chat, and really connect with on-the-ground stories of our environmental educators. And after the panel, we will continue the conversation in a more hands-on way through a workshop in collaboration with the Habibi Center. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming our moderator for the session, Ara Kusuma. Ara, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Raphael. Good morning, everyone. Or I was briefed to call the audience reformers. So good morning, reformers. And for those of you joining from different parts of the world, good afternoon, or perhaps good evening to you. Welcome to the Indonesia Community Education Festival 2026, the first panel, which is Our Earth, Our Rights, Rethinking Education for a Sustainable Future. My name is Ara. I'm a senior manager at Ashoka Indonesia, focusing on youth development and education. And I'm also a National Geographic Explorer, and I'll be moderating today's panel. I hope you are bringing your coffee, your curiosity, and most importantly, your commitment to creating change. Today's conversation feels particularly timely. As we see around the world, there are growing impacts of environmental degradation, climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. Yet these challenges are not only environmental issues, they are education issues, they are health issues, they are economic issues, and ultimately, they are human rights issues. The children who learn in flooded classrooms, the families who struggle with polluted water, the communities that lost their forests and livelihoods, these are not distant stories. They are realities experienced by millions of people, including men in our region. And for a long time, environmental education has often focused on knowledge, like what is climate change? What causes pollution? Why should we protect nature? But today, we are invited to ask a different question. What if environmental education is not merely about awareness, but about rights? What if every child has the right not only to learn about the earth, but also shape its future? These questions sit at the heart of today's panel, Our Earth, Our Rights, Rethinking Education for a Sustainable Future. And over the next hour, we will hear perspectives from two remarkable speakers who are already here with me and who approach this topic from different yet complementary angles. One explores environmental learning through community-based educational spaces and lived experiences, and the other brings expertise from the fields of law, public policy, and children's right. Together, both Mas Pungki and Dr. Nurul will help us connect a powerful idea in creating a sustainable future that is not only built through environmental solutions, but is built through education that empowers people to exercise their rights and responsibilities. Our first speaker is Dr. Nurul Hidayat Ab Rahman. Dr. Nurul serves as a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Law in University Kebangsaan Malaysia. Her expertise spans child law, family law, public policy, and the Sustainable Development Goals. She has dedicated much of her academic and research work to understanding children's developmental rights and how policies and legal frameworks can support more equitable and sustainable futures. Today, she will help us explore how environmental rights and educational rights intersect and what this means for the next generation. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Nurul Hidayat Ab Rahman. Dr. Nurul, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Sarah. Thank you, everyone. Okay, selamat pagi, salam sejahtera. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you, so much for the organizers of the Indonesia Community Education Festival 2026 for inviting me here today. It is truly an honor to be part of this meaningful conversation. And to everyone here, I know that they are educators, students, activists, policymakers, and community leaders. Thank you for being here with us today. So as you can see on the screen, today's session is titled From Eco-Anxiety to Eco-Agency, the Legal Mandate, under the broader themes Our Earth, Our Rights, Rethinking Education for a Sustainable Future. Now, for a very long time, child law and environmental issues were treated as two completely separate discussions. So one focused on children, the other focused on sustainability. But today, the climate crisis has forced us to realize something very important, that we cannot talk about the future of children without talking about the future of the planet they will inherit. All right. So, and honestly, that changes everything, because education today is no longer just about preparing children for examination or careers. It is about preparing them to survive, to adapt, to participate, and lead in a world facing climate change, pollution, biodiversity loss, floods, heat wave, and environmental injustice. So my main argument today is actually very simple. Environmental education is no longer optional. It is a human right. So now let's move to the next slide. Okay, so on this slide, we can see the idea of education as an environmental right. And I want to draw your attention first to the top section here, okay? You will notice there are three important ideas. Number one is the paradigm shift. All right. If you can give me 1 minute. Sorry, that's mom's duty. Okay, and I want you to draw your attention first to the top section here. I've told you that you'll notice there are three important ideas. That number one is the paradigm shift, and then we have the status of environmental education and education as a tool for environmental justice. So traditionally, when we spoke about the right to education, most people will we'll think about schools, classrooms, literacy, examinations, and access. So, and yes, those things absolutely matters, but human rights law today asks us to think beyond access alone. Okay, education is often described as empowerment right or multiplier right. Why? Because education is what helps people to access and protect many other rights. Okay, so when communities are educated, they are able to protect their health, dignity, their safety, and environment. So, and this even become more important in year 2022 when the UN officially recognized the universal human rights to a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. So, but here is the most important question: how can communities defend a right when they were never taught to understand it? And this is why environmental education matters so much today. Now, if we look at the lower section of the slide, you will notice that the reference to the UNCRC, particularly we have Article 28, 29, 17, 13, 12, 6, and 3. So what this tells us is that children's rights and climate change are now deeply interconnected. Okay, for example, Article 28 and Article 29 they reminds us that education must develop respect for the natural environment. Article 17 and Article 13 protect children's access to reliable information and freedom of expression. Article 12 protects meaningful participation. Article 3 and 6 remind us that environmental harm directly affects children's survival, their development, and best interests. So environmental protection today is no longer separate from child protection. So again, I would like to highlight that the two are deeply connected. Okay, so if we can move to the next slide. Okay, so in this slide, okay, it combines two very important international developments. We have General Comment number 26 or GC26, and then we have the SDG 2030 agenda. So, and honestly, I think this slide captures the global shift very clearly. Okay, let me begin with the left side first, GC to C to 6. Okay, so this specifically focuses on children's rights and environment. And what I really appreciate about GC to 6 is that it completely changes how we think about environmental education. So traditionally, okay, what we had previously, environmental education was very passive. Students learn about recycling, about pollution, about carbon cycle, but GC26 tells us that this is no longer enough. Education today must be very transformative, and that is why you can see here the slide, the phrase on the slide mentioned from eco-anxiety to eco-agency. So many young people today are genuinely anxious about the future. They're worried about climate disasters, environmental destruction, food insecurity, and other uncertainty. So the right-based education should not leave them feeling helpless. Okay, instead, it should equip them with scientific understanding. We want them to understand the legal literacy, critical thinking, and confidence to participate in this kind of issue. So no longer fear, we're supposed to take action. So NGC 26 also reminds states that if we want to encourage youth participations like all of you, then we must also protect child environmental defenders and youth activists. Okay, now if we move to the SDG 2030 part, one thing that I always remind my students is this: the SDGs are not separate boxes. Okay, if you look at this part, education is connected to climate action, climate action is connected to justice, and justice is connected to human rights. So that is why SDG 4, quality education becomes very important, because education is not just one goal among many. It is the foundation that helps make the other goals possible. Okay, and this becomes very clear because after that, if you look at SDG 13 on climate action, target 13.3 specifically calls for improving education. We want to give awareness. We want human capacity on climate change mitigation and adaptation. So after that, we have SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, because when young people understand their rights, they will participate meaningfully. Okay, they are not just following the trend. So we build a stronger institution, more transparent governance, and more inclusive societies. So environmental education is not only about protecting nature, it is about strengthening justice, it is about helping children, helping youth to participate, and to also upgrade human dignity. Okay, so now the next slide is... Okay, if we can move. Okay, right. So this slide is personally one of my favorites. Okay, because sometimes adults describe young people as future leaders. Okay, we are talking about future reformers, but honestly, many young people today are already leading it. Okay, we have here Miss Ara and Mr. Nanda. Okay, so many young people are already leading it right now. So, and we can see that very clearly from the examples on these slides. Okay, for example, we have Greta Thunberg from Sweden. Okay, one student sitting outside parliament eventually inspired a global climate movement involving millions of young people. Then we have Vanessa, okay, from Uganda, who continues highlighting how climate change disproportionately affects communities in global south. We have also Autumn Peltier from Canada, who has become a strong voice advocating for indigenous water rights and clean water access. And then we have Kangujam from India, has actively pushed for climate education and environmental reforms from a very young age. So when we look at all these examples together, one message become clear. When young people are empowered with education, participation, and legal awareness, they do not simply learn about change, they create it. Okay, so and honestly, I think adults sometimes underestimate how powerful use of voices can be. Okay, so we are coming to the last part. Okay, last slide, please. Okay, I really like the wording here because it captures the entire message of today's session. If you look at the screen, you will notice 4 keywords. We have educate, empower, protect, and act. And I think that perfectly summarizes what environmental education should look like today. Because rethinking education is not simply about changing syllabus. Okay, we don't want it to be like that. We are not only adding one extra environmental subject into schools. We are creating a generation that can understand rights, justice, sustainability, participation, their rights. Okay, so they would be able to do the changes, like I said, participate meaningfully. Okay, so a generation would feel more empowered, okay, not powerless. So, and for everyone here working in education and community development, your roles actually truly matters. So every time you create spaces for environmental literacy, like what you did today, you encourage critical thinking among the youth, participation, you encourage youth engagement. You are not simply teaching information, you are empowering human rights actually. So, and that is why we can no longer separate our earth from our rights. Okay, so because protecting the environment today also means protecting children, communities, dignity, and future itself. And perhaps the most important thing that we should remember is this, that the young people are not the leaders of tomorrow. They are already the change maker of today. Thank you very much. That's all from me.
Wow, let's give her another round of applause for Dr. Nurul. Thank you very much, Dr. Nurul. From eco-anxiety to eco-agency. I think your presentation reminds us that rights are not abstract concepts reserved for legal documents or like high-level conferences or courtrooms. Rights become more meaningful when people understand them, claim them, and have opportunities to exercise them. And that is precisely where education becomes so important, not only as a right itself, but as a pathway to realizing many other rights. It all starts from youth and from you as a change maker. Thank you for helping us see this broader perspective. So let's move on to our second speaker, Mas Pungki Nanda Pratama. He is the founder of Sumatra Nature and Biodiversity Conservation. Mas Pungki is a naturalist, environmentalist, and educator who has dedicated more than a decade to biodiversity conservation and environmental education. His work spans mangrove conservation, wetland ecosystems, sea turtle rescue initiatives, orangutan protection, biodiversity research, and community engagement across Indonesia, now specifically in South Sumatra. And I think what makes his work especially inspiring is his commitment to bringing environmental education to communities living in areas heavily affected by deforestation and human-wildlife conflict. He helps young people develop a meaningful relationship with nature through local wisdom, hands-on learning, and community action. Today, he will share insights on creating environmental awareness learning spaces. Reformers, please join me in warmly welcoming Mas Pungki.
Yeah, hey everyone. I'm very grateful and nice to meet you guys here in this amazing day. I just want to share about what we are doing so far about environment education that we connected and integrated with another conservation that we do in South Sumatra. And maybe let's find out and yeah, just enjoy. And this is kind of like my background is my name is Pungki Nanda Pratama and I'm from Sumatra Nature and Biodiversity Conservation. Not only that, I'm also a conservation cadre of the Indonesian Forestry Ministry, and I'm Bachelor of Diponegoro University, and also from Desmond Endangered Species Management graduate from University of Canada, UK. And this is kind of like the story, all of the conservation program that we've done. We have the Jungle Library project is focusing on people and education. And not only that, we're focusing on fauna and flora, fauna habitat protection and the Camera Trap Sumatra project. And the last one is a flora rescue project that are focusing to protect flora and habitats. All of these things, like we're trying to protect the biodiversity of the South Sumatra through education and community engagement, and government collaboration to prevent man-made nature destruction, local extinction, and shaping resilient generation capable of facing environmental and climate change. And this is like the environment problem in Southern Sumatra. Maybe Southern Sumatra is like the cases, but I think it's happening across the country. But the core problem of all of the environmental problem is a low economy that happening in a remote place and trigger a lot of environmental problem, including like deforestation, flora and fauna poaching, like you can see like in the middle, and also human wildlife conflict that increase time by time, which is like very concerning. That yeah, it's a low economy drag so much thing, including climate change also like make a more impact nowadays. And then this is kind of like what's yeah, we trying to select of the area. We selected areas from the problem, like what's happening. And then we have two location. The first one in Selangit district in the border of Kerinci Seblat National Park. And the second one is in Pagar Gunung district in the border of Isawi Wildlife Reserve. To that protected area, it's kind of like have a highly environmental problem. That's why we choose that location. Not only that, we also, all of the environmental education program is under the Conservation Agency outside Sumatra and collaborate with the Education and Culture Authority in a regency level. And also like we're trying to focus on the fourth and fifth grade, 10 or 11 years old of primary school. We already doing like a research, and the best year to giving environmental education in 10 to 11 years old. And this kind of like the concept of environmental education that we're trying to simplify. And we're trying to simplify the concept, kind of like the kids have a right to have a clean water, clean air, green space, and then we're trying to localize with dialogue with the kids or community, because we both working in the children and also the community to understand personal life experience. And after that, we're doing the act together with the kids and community. It's kind of like a collective initiation of small act, like river cleanup or tree planting together. And after that, we always like a gathering with community to, like doing evaluation of the activities that we've done. And the last one, like we will, kind of like a celebration. We will like just have a food gathering on also like a appreciation to the kids or the community that trying to, with us, like to make an effort to help nature. And then this is kind of like the environmental activities that we've done so far since 2017. We have education on targeted school, and this year we have a 7 school across the 2 sites. And we have a volunteer program for everyone around the world can come to join with us to, kind of like educate the kids and giving like so much insight to the local community. Not only that, we also like trying to do local government education collaboration together with another like company or whatever, like across the area. Not only that, we also bring up the mobile library project, because in remote place, sometimes they don't have any library, and we bring the library with us, like just walking or driving a motorbike to kind of like reach out like a very remote place. And not only that, because we concerning in environmental conservation, we also like involve the kids to do bird watching and also community. And the last one, we welcoming like institution of or university or school to do internship with us. And then this is kind of like, the focus, like a 5 focus, that's a problem happening around the village is, and the lesson is focused in rainforest, endangered flora, fauna, river, trash pollution, and wildlife human conflict. That's the most kind of like we focus on. Not only that, like all of the lesson, we're trying to kind of like maximize all of the body sense of the kids or the people, like sight, hearing, smell, touch, taste, to kind of like what is called like they can remember forever. And also like all of the most of the lesson, we bring the kids outdoor to give children like big space to express themselves. Not only that, our education program also teaches traditional local wisdom that right now is forgotten, and we're trying to bring back the local wisdom to them, to kind of like creating like a conservation effort together. And this is kind of like a talk about the first lesson. We're talking about the rainforest. Basically, there is like a 2 class, about the botanical class, and 3 is an animal home. Basically, we're trying to give them, the children, like a basic understanding about the plant parts and its function. Not only that, also like give them understanding how important a single tree for all the living things, to make them understand they cannot like just cut down the trees without reason. That's why we're focusing like to do this, because to give them basic understanding. And not only that, also like we make a kids joining with our conservation effort, because we have a facility of a flora conservation program. We have greenhouses and actively like collecting, even rescuing flora. And we bring the kids, or even like kids come over and villagers come over to doing conservation effort together with us. This is kind of like a part of the conservation and community what is called focus, like need to going together. And the second one is about the protected and endangered species, flora, fauna. We're trying to give them introduction of and identification of protected endangered species in their area and also in Indonesia. Not only that, we also like give them a simple understanding about the food chain, to give them understanding about kind of like what to kind of like protecting the species, to make them can understand the link all of the food chain. And not only that, we have a camera trap project in the area to kind of identify the biodiversity. The data that we have from the camera trap, we show to the kids and community to make them understand that we still have this thing and we need to protect it for the next future. That's mean that all of the conservation work that we've done is connected and also like a share the education that we've done so far. And next one, we have a river like focusing kind of like to give them kids a basic understanding about the biology indicator of healthy and unhealthy river around the school or village, and also like sustainable and unsustainable practice that they done so far. And we're trying to kind of like shaping them and make a clear education to make them understand like to make them understand like we need to do like sustainable practices. And then not only that, we also like focusing on trash. Basically in the village, in the remote village, they are kind of like don't understand and don't kind of like have any knowledge. And we're trying to give them understanding and diversity of trust around the school and village, and also like give them kind of like understanding how minimalize, avoid using plastic daily or reuse our plastic. And this is kind of like a picture of them after we're doing plastic kind of like a clean up plastic around the school and the village. And then we learn all about things like directly on the ground. And this is the last one is about the wildlife conflict. Like we're trying to make the kids understanding about the wildlife human coexistence to reduce negative interaction between human population and wild animal around the village, because time by time everything is like getting increasing. All of the animals like go out from the jungle, and this is kind of very concerning, not only because of deforestation, but climate change is kind of like impacted a lot. And this is kind of like a sign that before and after our education program, all of the number kids' knowledge is increasing. That means that very important to kind of like making environmental education in the kids, because barely kids, they need the right and clear information, and they basically absorb everything. That's why like we want when they grow up, they will like being like a leader that can creating like sustainable movement in a small village. And this is the next question. Are they worried about the climate change? Definitely yes, because they're questioning like why the temperature is rising time by time. They're questioning a lot. And then why we cannot predict the weather, because they here in Sumatra, we cannot predict the weather, because even right now it's supposed to be dry season. We still have a lot of rain. And then their crops of their parents is not produce a lot of fruits. And then again, we see that fruit bread migration is disappear, which is like they really understand like what's happening is about the climate, but mostly they understand because of deforestation, it's happening around the village. And and again, increasing temperature, increasing wildlife-human conflict, decreasing water level, decreasing crop is the real things that see the kids are seeing in the ground. And this kind of like the problem like faced by children living in remote areas, like poor education, poor information and technology, poor mental health, less healthy and nutritious food, and difficult health access. This is kind of like still kind of like a very bad happening in a remote place. And with environmental education, we're trying to contribute, increasing the knowledge of the kids with the clear and updated information about environmental issues through the fun and practical lesson to build the critical thinking, with the hope that they will grow as leader and resilient generation who capable to find sustainable solution and combat environmental climate change problem. And I just want to share a kind of like a story, like this is kind of like a meaningful story for me. And the left one is like a story of Vidyansa, a student from Kermidar Ilir village. It's kind of like he bring soft turtle babies, like he rescue stuck on the plastic, and he bring to the school and trying to make everyone release them back to the world together, which is kind of like it's amazing thing. Like the kid is kind of like excited to do like make a movement, like to help nature, to help wildlife. And the right side is kind of like ironic story that I faced, that in the middle there is a person named Mr. Yahya. It's been like a 20 years teaching a kids and dedicated. He's a disabled person, even like a crawling to the school to teaching a kids, but he only paid like a five thousand rupiah a month, and only he kind of get after 3 months, which is kind of like not equality. Like people as a teacher don't get any good livelihood, and he's still like asking if and hopes that he can be a state civil apparatus, but till now is he just still dedicated his life to helping children. And yeah, maybe that's I all of the story, all of what we are doing over here in South Sumatra. It's been like over 10 years we're doing an environmental um program in education. If you want more about the story about what we are doing in conservation, you can like it just scan the barcode, and there is a documentary from Gardening Australia that they take here, showing us like doing conservation hand in hand with together with the local people and also the children itself. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mas Pungki. I think the last slide is really a wake-up call, that environmental sustainability also means there is the need for a better welfare for the people in the community as well. What stands out from your presentation is the reminder that environmental awareness is rarely built through information alone. It is built through understanding, it is built through relationships with place, with community, with culture, and with nature itself. And I particularly like the journey you've developed for the kids to understand nature better, to simplify, localize, act, communicate, and then celebrate. Thank you for sharing those insights with us.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you again to both speakers. Reformers, let's all give an emoji reaction to show gratitude to our speakers. I'll share mine too. Okay. Well, I'd love to explore this further with both of you. And we do have several questions through this moderated talk show. The first one would be to both of you. I think from both the presentation, although it comes from different backgrounds, they seem to converge around a shared idea that children should not simply inherit the future. They should have a voice in shaping it. If we view education as a vehicle for rights rather than simply knowledge transfer, how does that change the way we design a simple environmental lesson for a 10-year-old? Who'd like to take on this question first? Maybe Dr. Nurul?
All right. Okay. In my opinion, when we want to teach children about environmental rights, okay, we are not supposed to teach them in a very fear-based way, like the world is ending, everything is polluted, your future is destroyed, you are the problem. So when children constantly hear about fear, disaster, hopelessness, of course, they will become very anxious. So environmental education should not only teach children about what is wrong with the world, it should teach them about what they can do. Okay, even the small things. Okay, so how communities can help, and that change is still possible even though you are a 10-year-old boy, 10-year-old boy. Okay, so like what Mr. Nanda already showed just now. Okay, imagine the school like keep showing students videos of floods, forest fires, dying animals, and climate disasters every week, okay, for every syllabus, but never teaches about the solution. So a child may start feeling anxious, okay, they will think that the world is scary, nothing can be fixed. So, and adults is failing them. Okay, so that is not empowering education. So I think that the approach need to be a better one. Okay, teaches about how recycling can work, about what they can do every week, like clean up the river, for example. Teaches about how they can make change. Okay, give opinions, celebrates the small wins of environmental achievements. Okay, that's all from me.
Thank you, Dr. Nurul. Can I ask a little bit about what you've just shared? So do you think that we should limit some of the facts to the children, or like filter sort of like those environmental degradation facts for them, or you just share all of them, but then also providing some solutions so that they can take action? So it's not only about facts, but also some opportunities for them to actually do something about it.
All right. I love the questions. Okay. As for me, I believe that we should not hide anything. We should be truthful. That is what everybody would appreciate, right? Even our kids, they want, and according to what I had explained just now, under the UNCRC Article 17, the children had the rights to receive reliable information. So that is their rights. We shouldn't like, but the approach on how we are telling them about it, how it's supposed to minimize to actually cause them become very nervous and anxious. So there is a way of delivering the method of delivering the news. Okay, but then again, hiding things, okay, like sweeping everything under the rug will not solve the problems. They should know how critical it is, but in a more friendly manner, maybe.
I see. So it's not only the what, but the how we deliver it really matters. Thank you so much for the clarification. What about Mas Pungki? How do you think that we can design a simple environmental lesson for a 10-year-old in a hopeful approach?
Right. Actually, it's kind of like a very, because I'm teaching a kids in very remote place, and we need to talk them with very simple words, kind of like they understand. But again, I'm not trying to hiding what's happening, because they already seeing what's happening, like like the climate change, everything, like they very critical thinking, which is really amazed me how they are care what's going on, but they also understand their family, like a father or uncle or whatever, they doing like wrong things. The only thing, like I just tell them, like at least they can transferring the information that I give it to them, and then to the parents, as and also we also like creating like a simple act together, like planting the trees together, and also clean up the river, like we can do in some lesson. It's kind of like a bring everyone is hopes that we can do something to solve like even like a big things, because I always like telling them like better we act little things but creating more impact in the future. And I'm also like, it's like just being the truth that right now we are in our climate emergency, and like it's kind of like a very for us it's very scary, but we're trying to give hopes to the children. We can do something, and then it's just like it's giving hopes more and more and more, and then it's like in the end we will like celebrate together. That's mean we're doing a good things, positive things, and then we celebrate together, like eat together or whatever, and then discuss after that. Maybe it's like from me.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm curious what kind of tools and skills that you equip the children so that they can become an influencer for their families as well. Because I can imagine that sometimes parents look down to their children. So when the children say, don't throw the trash there, for example, and the parents like, oh, I've been throwing it over there for like a lifetime and that's okay. Why should I change now? Why should I listen to you? So what kind of tools and skills that you equip them so that they can become a change maker themselves?
The only thing is, depending of the topic. When I'm talking about the pollution, like a trash pollution, at least they understand what is called inorganic or organic trash. They can separate it. That's mean like they think about that. I'm very grateful with that. But again, because right now the concerning about the plastic, I will bring them to the village. We cleaning cleaning the village together, and then again there is like one moment when they clean up the village, the parents throwing the rubbish in front of them, but ended up the children angry with their parents, like, why you rubbishing in front of the road? And they angry, and the children tell to us like, I'm very tired of picking up your rubbish. Please stop it. And but the effect, it's kind of like I'm just maybe psychology impact to the parents, but again it's about the plastic pollution is really complex because in the remote place we don't have any technology to uh making something else. But what I trying to do to my children is like no plastic on the class, and they using boxes or leaves to bring the food, and also no plastic for go to when they go to the market, they need to bring their bag. It's kind of like a bag, a simple action to decreasing using single-use plastic. And also making something else from the bottle or anything is like the simple thing. But I just wanted to kind of make my kids like, and we cannot do small thing, at least we decreasing using single-use plastic. That's why I kind of see the result. But I hope that in the future we have a technology like it can changing the plastic to something else like in the village or something. It will really helpful. Yeah.
Big change starts from small actions. I guess that's the
Yeah.
kind of values that you try to embody with the children there.
Maybe another thing like I share a bit is about because a lot of parents their dad is illegal logging. They cut off the trees a lot, and then the children asking my dad is doing illegally. If is it my dad will go to the jail or something like that? It's like a questioning a lot. But again, it's all about the survival. People here, they doing illegal thing is for survival, to feeding the family for tomorrow. I believe when everybody in Indonesia is rich, they don't want to doing hardest thing, and even it kind of kill themselves. But I hope that my kids, with all of the activities we have, volunteer activities, and people all over the world come over, and I hope that my kids have a huge vision that the world is big, not only on the village. They can work in another country or another city or something and creating better life. And I hope that my kids have that things, because I'm teaching in remote place mostly. The kids will be following their parents, what their parents do. I just are trying to want to cut off the wrong mindset, and I want that my kids are growing in a very white white minded person, and kind of do sustainable way in the future.
Thank you, Mas Pungki. I'd like to go to Dr. Nurul. As you mentioned in your presentation, how interconnected the Sustainable Development Goals is, that when we talk about environment or education, they're not in silos. They're actually intertwined together. And that goes the same with economies as well. When families are worried about income, about their well-being or basic needs, environmental issues can sometimes feel secondary. How do you think we can help communities see that healthy environment is not a luxury, but it is a foundation for human well-being and opportunity, and it is realized through education?
All right. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make is treating environmental rights as something extra, something only important after people become rich or comfortable to do it. But for many communities, environmental problems are already economic problems. For example, if a river becomes polluted, fishermen lose income, farmers lose clean water for crops. Families will have to spend more on healthcare, and because the children become sick more often, for example. So the right to a healthy environment is not a luxury, actually. It is a directly affects survival, food, health, and income, actually. So if we look at the real life example, in some part of Indonesia and Malaysia, communities living near polluted rivers will have to face serious water contaminations. So wealthier families may buy clean bottled water or install expensive filters, isn't it? So, but poorer communities often cannot do it. So environmental harm affects vulnerable communities much more severely. So, if we can look at another example, extreme heats. Okay, so many middle class families can stay indoors with air conditioning, but delivery riders, construction workers, farmers, street vendors, they have to still work outside under dangerous temperatures because they need to find a daily income. So climate change is not experienced equally. This is why environmental justice is not about is also about economic justice. I also think that we should stop framing environmental protection as save the trees first. Okay, because many struggling communities are thinking, I need to feed my family first. So the better approach is to show how environmental protection can actually improve our daily life. For example, cleaner rivers supports fishing jobs, so fishermen would not pollute them. They will actually try to do some things to actually find their income, and at the same time do not endanger the river. So sustainable farming, for example, will improve long-term income. So we need to come up with to share awareness that you should use certain products, for example, the organic one, to in order to ensure your long-term income. So public transport reduces fuel costs. So we need to give awareness that it can be cheap, and it actually can benefit us in a very long term. So when people see the direct benefits to their families and livelihood, uh, hopefully environmental rights stop feeling like a luxury. They will start feeling it like a necessary. And honestly, I believe that the government must also play a major role here. We cannot expect poor communities to go green, okay, while the the large corporations continue polluting without accountability. So environmental responsibility should not only fall on ordinary people trying to survive economically. So in reality, protecting the environment is not separate from fighting poverty. And again, I believe that these two are actually also deeply connected to each other.
Thank you, Dr. Nurul. And it takes a village to raise a child. Also, it takes a village to protect the environment. And I guess save the earth is just not really the correct term, because we are the ones who need saving. Earth are saving us, actually. So we should be able to see this sort of like connection that is reciprocal between us and the nature itself. And we understand how the ecosystem works, and that it doesn't only take one individual, but it takes the entire system to actually create the change. So I'd like to go to Mas Pungki for this last question, and then I'll open the Q&A for other participants to also share your thoughts and curiosity as well for this specific topic. Mas Pungki, you work with different stakeholders in the village. So what are some practical steps that community leaders can actually take to ensure that the environment is going to be better in the future, and it's sustainable? That's not only the efforts does not only comes from the children itself, but also like the government, the community leaders, and other stakeholders in the village.
Yeah, actually, I want to share a bit. The challenge is, bring back to the a small scale, in the village. Sometime the village don't want it. Like there is like one, I'm still remember for the first time I'm here in the South Sumatra on 2017. There is like one village that don't want me there to teaching a kids. But again, no, because of that, I'm working with the conservation agency of South Sumatra, basically, like what is called like saving me under the law, and I can, entering the village and have a protection because I'm working with very different, diverse tribe, and some of them they don't like outsider because they think they will like change the culture. But again, it's all about it's all about like working together. But yeah, it's kind of like multiple conservation work, and but yeah, it's kind of like need this like a big power to kind of like make everything easier after that. But again, because I'm working with a conservation agency, it's opening the gate for the villagers, like having me, and ended up like doing conservation and also education in the same time.
Wow, that must have been quite a journey for you to just being accepted and being welcomed in a village, to then share about your knowledge and also conduct the programs there. So, I have lots of questions, but I'd like to also give this opportunity for the audience, or our reformers here, to also share your questions. I invite you to think not only about the challenges you face, but also about the opportunities you see in your own communities. So please introduce yourself, state your name, organization clearly before asking your question. Be concise as well. Keep your question brief and straight to the point to allow time for others. And stay on topic. Ensure that your question is directly relevant to the materials that has just been shared. So I think let me ask the committee here, should we ask them to write, to ask the participants to write on the chat, or please also raise your hand if you like to share it verbally. I think I saw earlier, let's see. We have Miss Jani Purnawanti from FH Unair. Miss Jani, would you like to share your question?
Yes, thank you very much, Kak Moderator, for kindness allow me to raise my question. So my name is Yani Purnawanti. I am a professor, assistant professor in Faculty of Law, Universitas Airlangga. It is a very honor for me to be this forum among the young generation who care so much about environment. I have two questions. One, I will direct to Professor Nurul Hidayat, and the second one to Mas Pungki Nanda. To Professor Nurul. So actually, I agree totally, and I impressed with your approach in introducing the climate issue, environmental issue in the perspective of human rights. But then during the conversation, I heard that so you not only educate the students, but also you also need to educate the parent, the people live around the children itself. So then, and also for me, do not expect too much on the school, because school itself already have so many tasks to be performed for the curriculum wise. So I think for the academia, our task is to translate that high scientific educational information into the day-to-day language. So I think that is the challenge, because not all of us understand what is human rights, how is the right for the clean something. That's all the academic language. But our challenge is to translate it into our conversational language. So I think I want to hear your opinion on that, and how is so far your university doing that, or you yourself doing this in your daily task. Mas Pungki, I'm so impressed and honored and also appreciate a lot for the thing that you had done for the community in Sumatra. And I so envy to you, because you live in close to nature. you can access the forest, you can meet the wild animal. That's all the privilege that we cannot have kepada kita yang tinggalnya di kota. I don't have kampung halaman, Mas Pungki. So when you say about the hutan, I don't know how is hutan because saya tinggal di urban living di tengah kota seperti itu. So I think the thing, Mas Pungki, I think you really need to help us to mentranslate, sekali lagi mentranslate, and to because the challenges apa yang dihadapi orang kota, urban population dengan yang Anda tinggal itu sangat berbeda. I think you already found the way how to educate people who live close to the nature, but how can that be translated into the people like us who live in the urban living in the city? Thank you so much, Kak Ara, for giving me the chance.
Thank you, Miss Jenny, for the wonderful questions. Would you like to answer first, Dr. Nurul, on the question, how do you involve parents and the other adult allies around the children?
All right. Okay. Thank you. If you're looking at one perspective here, it may involve lots of terms that can be very confusing for everyone. So I think number one, it is important that we use simple language instead of legal terms like human rights. Okay. Taking things out of the law textbook is going to be very hard for them to understand. They don't have to understand about the international frameworks, what I had presented today. Okay, we can use simpler language and telling them the impacts would actually give so much meaning to them. Okay, and then the universities we should not wait for people to come to the campus. The university can go directly to the village, to the schools or community centers to give indigenous communities, for example, to give awareness. Okay, we can organize some short workshops and then probably we can hold like a town hall discussions maybe. Okay, playing games or storytelling with the children would actually help. Okay, and then like I mentioned that we should use real life examples. Whatever that we study, we do the research, we need to present them, but in a method that they can understand. And then I also believe in the power of social media and short videos that we have nowadays, because not everybody reads academic articles and not everybody would be able to listen to talk like this for hours. So universities, like, they can create like TikTok videos, for example, Instagram reels, like what you had currently. Okay, these communities had actually developed lots of literacy that is easy to understand. It's very colorful. You have podcasts, for example, short animations. So these simple infographics will be able to make people understand it better. And then from my side, okay, I believe that I don't have to go to school. I can just start from my house. I have children, so every time we go to the playground, it is my initiative to actually build their character. So after we done playing, okay, I would ask my children to for 10 to 15 minutes to go around the playground and like collect all the rubbish they can see. That's the trend. And if you go to the river, okay, every time we go to the holiday, to the beach, okay, it is our family initiative, because I just want to build their character, but it somehow helps them to understand that this actually can save environment, the forest, the animals and other things. So I think we just need to start. And we can start small. It's okay. It makes changes because it actually built the character, and this generation will continue whatever we had laid down for them. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nurul. That education does not always means about school, but we can also start from our home, from our community, and starts from small action. Again, a great reminder from Dr. Nurul. Mas Pungki, how do you make environmental sustainability relevant to the urban community?
Yeah, kind of like maybe it's like not only in an urban community and also like in the village community, like very remote. And I think that to make everything relate, it's kind of like a bring back the local wisdom. I believe our ancestor, our grandparents, our parents always like bring up like the local wisdom that we need to understand, and also like always like keep in our mind, like yeah. Don't cut the trees because it will be like as a resources of the water, or even like in the village, don't cut the bamboos because it's resources of the water, or even like in a huge thing, like we need to protect nature, or like what is called jungle is because to protect the water and also the food, because in the remote place, like people still dependent of the jungle for the food, medicine, and everything. It will like easier to bring the local wisdom to the local community, but again, bring kind of like this issue to the urban people. I think I need to kind of like pull everyone close to nature, bring like maybe like a kind of like making a lot of kind of like lesson like on the school, basically like to kind of like yeah directly to nature, like a close like to make a children like a close to nature. I think it will be like a good start, because I think the problem is right now in modernization, like all of the kids only like staring at the phone. They don't have any kind of like interest to go to the out the school. But I think small things that a school can do is like bring the kids, or even like a creating lesson to kind of like pull them out, like too close to nature, right? Reconnecting them to nature, to giving like all of the kids this kind of like excitement to be outdoor and be happy in outdoor, because it's really important right now, like make a people like a human like close to nature again, because yeah, all of distraction right now with technology is kind of like concerning right now, and make everybody's like forgetting that right now we have a big problem with nature. That's why like we need to do simple action, even like in the school, or even like in the what is called in a family, like a small family. We as a family, we can bring our family go to camping or whatever, to bring the our children too close to nature. I think that's my perspective. Yeah.
Basically, nature is all around us, be it in the rural environment or the urban setups. Water is nature, air is nature, and we see it everywhere. We can also start from planting trees in the garden, separating our household waste, for example, so making it very much closer to our daily life. I think that's what Mas Pungki is sharing with us all. This is also relevant to a question that I see on the chat from Miss Rahayu Surya Ningtyas, Yayasan Karisma Gading Kirana, that very inspiring speakers. Although I'm interested in knowing whether environmental education should be integrated into science education, or it should be taught as a standalone subject with more focus at the primary level. What do you think, Mas Pungki and Dr. Nurul?
Okay, honestly, I think it should be both. Okay, environmental education should be integrated across subject, especially science education. But at the same time, it also should focus attention on its own, especially in a primary school level. If we only place environmental education inside science subject, children may start thinking, oh, this is only experiments or plants, weather, or biology. But environmental issues are much bigger than science alone. They are also human rights, like I said, health, culture, ethics, community responsibility, and even economy. All right. So we already discussed it before, like how pollutions can affect public health, floods actually can affect receive of education, poverty, climate change can actually affect their survival. So environmental education should, I think, not be trapped inside one classroom subject. And at the same time, integrating it into science education is still very important because it helps them to understand like from the science point of view, but then again, science give them explanation, but environmental education give connection to daily life and responsibility. Personally, I think at the primary school level, maybe children should more dedicated and practical environmental learning, not only the theory hidden inside the textbook.
Thank you, Dr. Nurul. Mas Pungki, would you like to add from your experience as well?
Yeah, I think like for science education and environmental education is kind of like interconnected, and then we cannot like separate it because from science we understand the core information like what's going on, and then environmental education kind of like shaping the information to kind of like in a reality way, and then to make the kids or everyone like understand in a both way. And like with my experience, yeah, again, I'm also like trying to kind of like explaining to the kids like about the science like behind the science of this subject, and to make them understand like why we cannot do this. And then I will like think like a mix with like yeah, kind of like local wisdom, or even like what's happening, like what the problem around, and trying to mix out to make a kids understand. Again, like talking about the science, we cannot like directly like pulling out to the kids with all of like a high topic like climate change or something else. But again, like as a scientist, we can kind of like what is called make the word like more simple to make the kids, because I'm focusing in the kids like to understand very well, and then they kind of like analyze by themselves what's going on, and like they understand about the problem itself. I think it's need to be like a go both way, and it's really important.
What I'm hearing from both of you is the emphasize that it should not only be confined inside the classroom, no matter whether it is integrated in one subject or be its own sort of like new subject at school, but it should be based on more sort of like experiential education in nature instead of just inside the classroom itself. We have time for one last question. I saw earlier that we have someone raised her hand. I think it's from Miss Anna Farida from Litara Foundation. Would you like to open your camera and microphone to share directly your question?
Thank you so much, Kak Ara. I'm Anna from Litara Foundation. What a great presentation, and we actually we publish books focusing on environment and culture, while also mentoring teachers and communities to utilize the books. My concern will be the education of environment issues should be focused more on children, since this kind of characteristics and the way the children perceive their world should be trained as early as possible. So my question will be, what kind of issues that a publisher or books in this case book publisher that can be offered to children according to your experience taking care of the children and the issues of the environment problems right now, since we don't want to give the children lectures about environmental issues, and the environment campaign has been widespread, so that making stories, using stories in pictorial books is much more effective to cultivate the awareness of children. So what kind of topics that you can suggest to publishers like us? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Miss Anna. Dr. Nurul, would you like to start first?
Okay, this is like the hardest question for me. Okay, I think that maybe like children, they love interaction, so a book that could allow children to make choices like if you throw rubbish to the river, or what will happen, and if you have options, what will happen. So maybe each choices changes the story endings. Okay, so maybe that would like teach them how their actions can give consequences in a more fun way, or maybe also like tells about local environmental problems and global environmental problem, even though we don't have melting iceberg here, but they should know that whatever they did in Indonesia or Malaysia can affect that ice somewhere else in the world. So it can actually like issues like foreign forests, and then animals that children never see, maybe the animals that no longer here. So that would be interesting as well. So now I'm like using all my creativity to give you ideas. Okay, so actually, yeah, maybe that kind of things. If you wanted it to be a little bit unique. Okay, sorry if this is not helping. Thank
That
you.
is
It's so helpful. Thank you. Thank you.
That is such a creative answers, like creating branching narratives for children to understand the consequences of their choice. Mas Pungki, do you have any other ideas you'd like to share?
Yeah, it's kind of like a very, very kind of like living here is for education program is really difficult. But again, like talking about the books, that's actually we already have a mobile library project, and we get a lot of like donation from the greenbook.org. Is an organization basically from Czech Republic, but based on Bali. They sending us so many eco literacy, like by far. But again, like it's all about like the children, like which one they wanted. But again, I'm glad like bring the literacy outside, and the kids can see all of like environmental issues around in the book or even comic, because I think you can get like a lot of like eco literacy book right now like easily. But again, it's depend on the children, what is called like children knowledge itself. But in the rural area like me, we bring up the books, but also my children is kind of like easily bored with the like reading book. They're easily bored. But another thing we can do is showing the videos like what's happening on Earth, like about the environmental problems or biodiversity. It's kind of like make them like a spark to kind of like a seeing, watching, and even like interacting with me as a teacher, like what's going on in the videos, because I'm using a lot like videos like documentary about nature is a very effective here in a very remote place, because I teach in some village don't have any electricity. I still remember like last year, sorry, in January, I'm going to remote village, no electricity, no communication, and the only thing I'm bring genset, and also I'm showing like a nature documentary in the night, and I see there is like a 5 years old like a jumping very happy, and say to the mother like, "This is very beautiful. Why we don't have any light like now, like 2026?" And he's tearing me up like we are in Indonesia, but we still like living in equality, even with that thing, the small thing. But I'm again like my point of view, like videos, kind of like is this very kind of like make me easier to spread the words and spread the what is called the lesson to the kids, which is very effective. Including I'm still using like eco literacy in the same time. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mas Pungki, making it as interactive as
Thank you.
possible and integrating
Okay.
technology in the book. Okay, thank you, Miss Anna, for the question.
Thank you. And
As
thank you also for the comments in the chat room. There are some suggestions also from the comments of the participants.
yes,
Thank you.
so we've come at the end of the session, and I'd like to invite each of our speakers to offer a brief closing reflection. Perhaps in 1 minute, what is one action you hope our reformers or our audience here today will take after leaving this conversation?
All right. Before I end, I want to leave everyone here with a very simple thought. When we talk about environmental education, we are not simply teaching children or youth about trees, recycling, or climate change. We are teaching them how to care, how to think critically, how to protect their communities, and how to believe that their voices is actually matters. We want them to feel important. You are significant. Your voice mattered. So because at the end of the day, children or youth are not too young to understand about environmental problems. If we are just underestimate how capable they are. So if we give young people the right education, the right platform, the right method, the right support, the right opportunities, they will not only become more aware of the world around them, they will become probably the best solution. Okay, so and honestly, that is why education matters so much, because education changes examination, but not because education changes examinations, but because education actually changes people, and people change the world. Okay, that's all from me.
Education change people and people change the world. Such a powerful remarks. Mas Pungki, over to you.
Yeah, it's kind of like a very short thing. Like I just wanted to share to you guys and also remind you that we need to do it now to protect nature and start from ourselves. Don't think too much like it's a hard to helping nature. We can start now, even like it just, using our bottle or throwing on everything out, just doing it now because it will be like make a big change in our world. Yeah.
Thank you, Mas Pungki, and thank you, Dr. Nurul. Thank you to all of our reformers for joining us this morning. I think today's conversation reminds us that environmental education is not simply about helping children understand the world. It is about helping them believe that they have a place in shaping it. And a sustainable future will not be built by experts alone. It will be built by teachers who create space for student voice, by community leaders who transform neighborhoods into learning spaces, by policymakers who recognize children's rights, and by young people who are trusted not only to learn, but also to lead. As you move into the workshop sessions, I encourage you to carry one question with you. What is one change, however small, that can help children in my community move from awareness to agency? Thank you so much, everyone. Back to you, Raphael.
Thank you very much, Ara, for moderating such an impactful and engaging discussion. And our deepest gratitude to Pungki Nanda Pratama and Dr. Nurul Hidayat for sharing their insights, their experiences, and their passions with all of us today. You have truly inspired us to rethink how education and environmental action can go hand in hand, and how learning spaces can become the starting point for a more sustainable and equitable future. But before we move on, a quick but important reminder. Please take a moment to fill out the feedback form that has been shared in the chat box. This is your key to receiving your e-certificate, so please don't skip it. Once you have filled it out, we are excited to continue exploring these ideas in a more hands-on way through our upcoming workshop in collaboration with the Habibi Center. The workshop will begin in 11:50, so in the meantime, we will be taking a short break. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending the first panel of ICEF.